Monday, April 28th, towards the end of April, as it were. And I had an interesting read last night. It actually kept me up a little bit. So I read I think it was probably about 18 pages, but the legal document, the complaint that was detailing the situation of the Wisconsin judge's arrest. Now her name fails me. I think it's Hannah something right this second. But so this judge was arrested for what amounts to basically like obstruction, meaning she prevented ICE agents from doing their job in arresting somebody. Now, on its face, this is an interesting... I mean, it's not interesting. But you can look at it from two perspectives. And I like looking at it from multiple perspectives just because the news and websites and everything like to jump to conclusions. Everybody jumps to conclusions. They just want to hear a soundbite, get mad, say fuck the other side, and move on, right? Who doesn't? Who doesn't? I like doing that too. But here's the thing. Okay, so one side is saying obstruction. The government, I mean, she's part of the government. She's a fucking judge, for Christ's sakes. You would think that just on its face, arresting a judge without anything other than an airtight case, and I'm talking airtight, like obstruction, corruption. I said obstruction, but that's not what I meant. I meant corruption. So let's just go back and say corruption, or something that's really fucking solid that's going to nail them, would be bad, because here's the thing. The government and the judges typically work hand to hand, right? Prosecutors go to the judge. They work with that. The judge is pretty much on the government side. Now, the judge is supposed to be impartial, but let's be honest. The judges have very good relationships with the DAs, the attorneys, the prosecutors. I mean, defense attorneys too, but I'd imagine they see them less than they see the prosecuting attorneys. So, really, honestly and truly, it's a cozy relationship that they enjoy, and this is the way that it's always been. Judges and DAs are nice and cozy, which is why typically DAs go and become defense lawyers, because they play golf with the fucking judges from their time prosecuting people, and then they get favors from the judges to let people off. I mean, that's the corruption system. That's usually how it's supposed to work. The good old boys. You get a good lawyer, you pay a high price for that lawyer, who gets you a good favor with the judge. The judge looks favorably on you, and, you know, you kind of get off or whatever. If you're poor, fuck you. That's what this country says. If you're poor, get fucked. So, God help the poor bastards. I mean, seriously. But anyway, let's go back to this judge. So they arrested this judge for obstruction. Now, I read the complaint. And it's interesting because not only was the complaint odd in the sense that it was... So, in the beginning of the complaint, the guy has to detail who he is. He's a guy who prosecutes white-collar crime, right? Number one. Number two, I don't think it's proof that he was actually there. The guy who got the arrest warrant, basically, wasn't even there. He's just detailing this situation because he names other agents who were there. And I'm just going to recap this, okay? You can read this for yourself. It's public, okay? So basically he says, you know, I am who I am, blah, blah, blah. These are the facts, and this is what happened. When ICE agents came to arrest this guy in court, the judge pitched a fit because they didn't want them coming into the courtroom, and there was no protocol that was written for ICE being able to come into courtrooms, or basically the judges didn't want ICE to make a mockery of judicial proceedings in any way that was there. So they couldn't come into the courtrooms. They couldn't, you know, they had to stay in the public areas if they were going to arrest anybody. So she directed them, ICE agents, to not a district judge, but the guy who's basically the chief judge. Sorry, apologies. So she directed ICE agents to the chief judge. So a couple of the ICE agents went down and spoke to the chief judge, actually on the phone, I think, because he wasn't there. They were talking to the chief judge while a few ICE agents stayed behind. They were all in plain clothes and weren't identified to the judge that was arrested. So she didn't know there was extra plainclothes officers hanging about. Okay? She then went back into her courtroom, and I'm not sure how they know this, because there's some talk between her deputy and their deputies, but the basic gist is she didn't dismiss this guy's charges. She suspended them and then had him leave via a different hallway, which led back into the same hallway that this plainclothes officer was in. So you could read this as a couple different ways. You could say this judge was freaking out because she didn't want ICE to make a scene in her courtroom and didn't want a spectacle. So she just suspended that guy, pushed his hearing back and said, get out of here, right? Or you could look at it where the government's looking at it, where she's like, she's trying to hide him, right? She's trying to get him out. She sent him down a hallway that's not meant for normal people. It's a jury hallway, which just kind of like goes around. It's like a back door, basically. But it all leads to the same place. So this guy got kicked out to the main hallway and went down, kind of like took off to the opposite elevator. The plainclothes guy followed him, was in the elevator with him, right? Didn't bust him in the hallway, didn't bust him in the elevator. He got down to the... Oh, shit, somebody lost their cross sticks on the side of the highway. That's probably valuable. I should pull over. Kidding. Didn't arrest him in the hallway, didn't arrest him in the elevator, didn't arrest him as he was leaving the courtroom, only arrested him as he was outside the courtroom in the street. And then the guy took off running. They chased him a block or two and then nabbed him. And then I think there was actually a couple other officers. He was in the hallway with his lawyer. He was in the hallway elevator with his lawyer. He was in the main foyer with his lawyer. And then when he went outside, I think that's when they might have parted ways and they nabbed him. Couldn't really tell you. But so here's the thing. Let's look at it if this is actually obstruction. Because I'm 99% certain it's not. But let's just talk about this as if it is obstruction. If the judge, let's say we're going to look at it from the red side. This activist judge is getting in there and she's preventing perversion of justice here. She's preventing... First of all, they nabbed their guy. Second of all, they had the opportunity to nab the guy in the public areas of the courtroom, which would have been the hallway, which would have been the elevator, which would have been the main foyer, right out front in front of the courthouse, where they did nab him. So I'm not sure how that would amount to obstruction. Also, again, look at it from the side of like, maybe she does not give a fuck about this guy. Now, I'm not even talking about this guy, whether or not he should be prosecuted. Okay, because look, we can't jump to these conclusions. This isn't both sides here in the sense either, and I'm not saying this, but you can't jump to these conclusions. Let's say this guy is in this country illegally. They're saying that he committed a crime, and therefore this was his, obviously day in court for committing this crime. Now, he's got 2 strikes against him. Everybody knows that if you're doing something illegal, don't commit another crime while you're doing something illegal, right? Don't be riding dirty here. Only commit 1 crime at a time. That's usually, the rule. So that way, if you got hey, unregistered tags on your cars, don't be caught with drugs. It's another golden rule that they have. I don't know whose rule that is. Mafia? Anyway, so this guy could or could not. That's obviously what due process is for, determining whether he's guilty of a crime. But also, if he's in the country illegally, that kind of makes this whole thing a little bit more difficult to swallow and fathom. I don't know what you do when you've got these two situations. The problem is that ICE is, again, jumping to conclusions, not giving due process, pretty much looking like the Gestapo here, or maybe the SS, whatever you want to say, arresting people and, getting all trigger happy on this shit, making them look bad. So ICE is not giving itself the benefit of the doubt on top of all of this shit, right? So, I mean, it's kind of a bad look for ICE. It's just all there is to it. First of all, you're arresting a judge. You got weak evidence that she's obstructing, right? You're ruining and fracturing the relationship between the executive and the judicial branch, as if it's not already fractured, right? As if it's not already fractured. But now you're giving the judicial branch evidence to fight back against the executive branch, or feel like they're, again, in this position of checks and balances, people. This is what they're supposed to do. Nobody bows to the king. So you didn't do yourselves any favors, ICE, especially when you need judges to approve the due process that everybody's owed if they're in this country. So, yeah, the whole thing looks shady as fuck and dumb. And I can't see it from the side of like, she's obstructing, arrest her! I can't. I really can't. I don't understand what you think that's going to do any good, because what are you going to do? Even if it is obstruction, I'm not sure what sort of sentence they're looking for, or, kind of anything more than, I guess, a slap on the wrist, honestly. Like, what? Resisting arrest is not, it's a good way to yell out, foul and get somebody in trouble when there's no reason to arrest them in the first place, right? Like, he's resisting. What a world. So anyway, I recommend that you go read it. It is kind of a laugh, especially, again, that part where the guy's like, I process white collar crime, basically an accountant. That's the narrative to the story, huh? Alright, well, so, yeah. I didn't really read the case about the New Mexico judge that said he was harboring immigrants. That one seems, on its face, maybe legitimate. Like, he's harboring people that are illegal, and then there was pictures of guns or some shit. I don't know. Again, that's the media. That's something that you should look into and read, because you coming to knee-jerk conclusions will be like, yeah, fuck that guy. But is that the truth? Right? Again, if you look back at this judge's actions, she could honestly say, like, hey, look, this is my fucking courtroom. I'm a judge. I've earned it. I'm in a position of authority. I rule over this courtroom in the sense of decorum and how I run this courtroom, because that's my job and my function. Do not disturb my job and my function. I am pushing back this circus because I don't want to be part of this circus. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, because she probably did what her protocols would be, which is like, you go talk to this guy about what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do. And in the meantime, I'm just getting this guy out of here. You go talk to the chief judge, and I'm getting this guy out of here because I don't want part of it. That wouldn't be aiding and abetting or obstruction or anything to me. It would just be like, trying to push the circus off next door. So, I don't know. Oh, they had some interesting things in there. Like, judge called up the lawyer. They were whispering things back and forth. What were they whispering? We deserve to know! I don't think it was actually that bad, but it was silly. It was silly. The whole thing it's pretty silly. It's pretty silly, so... and I'd imagine another judge seeing this, right, because she's got to go in front of a different judge, would probably look at this and be like, okay, get this shit out of here. What the fuck are we doing here? The guy that signed the arrest warrant, I think it was a magistrate even. I don't even think it was a judge. And some people were like, why do you even sign the arrest warrant? Well, you know what? And the accountant typed up the report, right? So, I mean, he had to have they probably called Jerry, you're in the fucking back. Jerry, hey, write this up. Write this up like I say it, okay? This is what happened. You write this down, Jerry. Good job, Jerry. They stick him in the back corner near the coffee machine. Fuck you, Jerry. Now they need a favor from Jerry, right? Anyway, so the magistrate signs off. I mean, it's kind of like an auto pen at this point. When a cop needs a warrant, they pretty much can get a warrant. It's easy. So I think they say they reject 2% of arrest warrants. So good luck with that. Even on a judge, like they don't need probable cause. You can indict a ham sandwich, that kind of bullshit. It's the same way with indictments. There's no defense in indictments. So when you're indicted, they just present a bunch of shit saying, this guy raped a fucking dog, kicked the Pope in the forehead, pissed on Mother Teresa's grave. No, he was just jaywalking. Well, he's indicted for jaywalking, goddammit. Good reason. So yeah, there's no defense in an indictment either. So like an arrest warrant is pretty easy to get, and especially with whatever narrative that they presented. So this whole situation would have happened kind of regardless. It's just silly for them to bring it and to do this. It's an open attack, and it's fucking messy. It's messy. The whole thing is publicly messy. It's messy. You look unprofessional. You guys look unprofessional. You look like a bunch of whiny, crying bitches, and you're pissing off the wrong people. Because now this judge that's overseeing this case is going to be pissed off that one of his fellow members is in there. On top of it, they got to worry. Am I next? Are you threatening judges in this country? The answer is yes, they are. They are, because Pam Bondi said, we will find you. If you are an activist judge, we will find you. Okay, well, good luck bringing a case, because now you're pissing off everybody. That's the point of checks and balances. They forget. Should we call her Hannah Gobbles instead of Hans? So anyway, like I said, go read. And, the apocalypse meter went down a little bit. I'd say it was feeling like a solid 99.5 there. I think my last podcast, Thursday, Friday, I was like, yeah, you know what, this is going pretty good. Trump's been slapped down, some legal victories for the good side, and, maybe shit isn't falling apart, but maybe it's going back up again. Oh, shit. Ports are empty, too. Ports, they're empty. Good luck if you guys are going to be needing something soon, because that shit's going to be crazy. And then we're really going to see how the shit's going to hit the fan, so, yeah. Another aspect of this whole tariff thing is that people are like, it's bringing factories back. Yeah, how much factory moving do you see when dummy is going tariffs on, tariffs off, tariffs on, tariffs off, tariffs on, tariffs off? Like, that doesn't help a business forecast for years ahead. Even if this was like, let's say this entire thing is legit. He wants to bring full manufacturing back to the U.S., which, if you think that, you're fucking retarded. But let's go with that angle. Let's go with it. He wants to bring factories back to the U.S. Cool. How does he do that? By flip-flopping on tariffs. People love to be like, oh, he's joking. He's trolling. He's just doing that to accomplish what he wants. Well, motherfuckers, he ain't getting shit done. China has not been flinching. He's like, China called me. China called me. It's a very good conversation. No, they fucking didn't. And they're telling everybody, they're like, yeah, we fucking didn't call him. You can suck a dick. We didn't do shit. China said we'd go back to the way it was before, and they'd forgive me. Right, China? No, they don't. They're going, China number one. And they're fucking giving you the middle finger, as well as going, you see that bag over there? That Hermes bag? That Hermes fucking bag that people pay crazy amounts of? Yeah, we make that shit here. We make it here. We make, Louis Vuitton here. Fuck you, luxury brands. I mean, we do it anyway. They're just unloading. They make 95% of that bag over there. They send it to fucking Italy or France. They slap a label on it. They're like, made in France. No, it ain't. That shit's made in India or China. I got news for you. Everything's made over there. India or China. You want furniture? You want clothes? Probably India. You want electronics? That's China. So, it's going to get interesting. It really is. It's I don't know if people are prepared for how shitty it's gonna be, but yeah. All right. Anyway, look, like I said, go for a run. I haven't been for a run. Finger can go both ways, right? You point a finger at somebody, you got 3 pointing back at you, right? So I haven't gone for a run in a couple of days, and I need to. Got to get that cardio up, because you never know when you're going to be running from the cops, running for food. It seems like it's a definite possibility. So stay safe, stay smart, read some legal documents.